Hello folks, I'm John Myrie and welcome to the Wisconsin Northland Outdoors. On this week's show we have reports and tips for you from Jarrett McCarthy down at Hayward Bait and Bottle. And then we talk Lake Michigan and Lake Superior fishing with charter boat captain James Pearce. Lots to cover on this week's show, all coming up right after these messages.
Save on Tracker boats at Hayward Power Sports. America's #1 selling aluminum fishing boat is Tracker, and the top selling pontoon is Sun Tracker. During the Great American Boat Sale event, claim up to $3,000 in instant savings and a free Bass Pro Shop gift card up to $1,000 with the purchase of a select new model Tracker boat. Plus, get the Tracker Promise, the best factory warranty, and Tracker's no-hassle, no-haggle value pricing coast to coast. See us today at Hayward Power Sports, just 10 minutes east of Hayward on Highway 77.
The Hayward Lakes Visitors and Convention Bureau in Sawyer County, Wisconsin welcomes you to our Northwoods hometown. No matter the season, no matter the activity, you'll always be surrounded by our great outdoors. What more could you ask for in a vacation destination? Woods, waters, world-class events. Contact us for information on lodging, dining, attractions, events, trail conditions, and more. Order your free vacation guide and start planning your getaway today. Visit us at haywardlakes.com or call 1-800-724-2992.
Riding along in my automobile.
Bumping into things unexpectedly? Make your first choice for collision repair. Ernie's Auto Body, featuring the most advanced collision repair facility in Northwest Wisconsin. With a state-of-the-art spray, bake down, draft paint booth for that better-than-new finish, laser technology for precision frame alignment, loaner cars available, computerized estimates, written guarantees, and documented unmatched customer service, the clear choice is Ernie's Auto Body, south of Hayward on Highway 63 and Nursery Road, where quality is no accident.
Lynn's Custom Meats and Catering welcomes you to stop by for their great lunch menu. And while you're there, Lynn's also has a great selection of custom cut meats and sausages, as well as many varieties of snack sticks, jerky, fresh cheese curds, and much more. Lynn's is open Mondays through Fridays from 9 to 5:30 and 9 to 4 on Saturdays. Lynn's Custom Meats and Catering in Hayward.
Today, anglers fish longer. Today, anglers fish harder. Today, anglers rely more than ever on their electronics. It all comes down to catching more fish, and today, anglers rely on Amped Outdoors lithium batteries, period. Visit ampedoutdoors.com today to power your outdoor experience.
We're recording down at Hayward Bait and Bottle, and I'm talking to Jarrett McCarthy down here. And Jarrett, summer's here, and people out there fishing. What are you hearing as far as the fishing out there?
Fishing's pretty good out there. We finally had some normal temperatures out there. We're going to start getting back into the 80s for weather. We've had some really nice clouds. We've had some nice wind, which is great for the summertime, and seems like the fish have followed suit.
I know water temperatures are down there where the muskie guys have been out. If that gets up to high temperatures, they kind of back away. But as far as the walleye fishing, what are you hearing out there? People still want to walleye fish.
Yeah, absolutely. People want to walleye fish all year. It's a mixed bag depending on where you go. We got some guys that are already starting the trolling gig. A lot of guys that are still out throwing the slip bobbers and leeches, and we still got some guys plugging away with some of the hard baits.
And you get more into the summer, I think you get probably the best thing you can learn is the trolling thing we do with crankbaits, or learn how to troll crawler harnesses. Crawler harnesses do catch fish.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lot easier to troll than you think. It's not a lot of gear that goes into it. You can get away with long line trolling. A lot of these guys think trolling means you got to have boards out. You got to have 5-6 lines out. Absolutely not. You can do it with 1 or 2 lines, and you can still do it with a rod in your hand.
And a lot of it's fishing away from the structure, too. So it's not trying to follow the structure. You're out there looking for suspended fish in the middle of the lake.
Absolutely. And you're looking at your electronics all the way through while you're doing it. You're learning new spots. You're learning parts of the lake, kind of seeing where the fish are at. And then as soon as you're done trolling, you backtrack to where the fish were, and you can kind of fish them a little bit slower.
You had a good point there. I tell people, run your side imaging. Run it out to 100 feet on each side and change the frequency down on it and look, because if you're trolling, you'll find things in the lake you didn't know were there. Cribs and structure and, little humps and stuff.
Yep, you're fishing and you're doing your research at the same time, so make sure you keep an eye on your electronics and an eye in front of the boat. Make sure you don't whack anybody.
Let's talk about panfish. That's one of your favorite fish, and getting to be one of mine anymore, as I get older.
Yeah, absolutely. Panfish has been good. Seems like most of the bluegills are just starting to make their way off the bed, so they'll head out to that weed line. They'll start feeding feeding pretty heavily. Crappies are already there in the weed lines waiting for them. We'll have some fish that move out kind of to that basin area for the summer. We'll have a lot of fish that stake on those weed lines, but live bait's been good, but this time of year where you should really think about switching over to plastics.
I know in some of the lakes, some of the flowages, too, a lot of the crappies get back in some of the bays that have scattered weeds in 10, 12 feet of water. You got big areas of weeds. Harder to find them, but I know toward the evening, they always seem to come up over the top of those weeds.
Yeah, and that's especially true in a lot of the clear bodies of water that we have around here. Those fish will stay tucked away during those daylight hours, and as soon as we get some of those twilight hours, whether it be in the morning or in the evening, those fish will rise up and they'll feed pretty hard.
Kind of funny, too. You can get out there on a piece of structure and catch bluegill after bluegill, and then as soon as you get toward evening, the bluegills disappear and the crappie show up.
Absolutely. It's fun, though. It really is.
Well, let's talk about what you catch them on this time of year. You said switch to plastics. When do you decide to go live bait versus, plastics or gulp or something?
So as soon as that water starts getting really, really warm out there, I like switching over to plastics. Number one, because it's really hard to take live bait like minnows from a cool water and take them out to the lake and put them into 70, 80 degree water. You can, but your minnow lasts for a cast or two if you're just trying to let it sit on a slip bobber. Those fish get really aggressive, and when they get schooled up super heavy in the summertime, you don't need to pull live bait by them to get them to hit. You can run artificials and, cause a frenzy in the school and just be running plastics all day.
Sometimes I think the more water you cover, the better off you are rather than waiting for fish to come to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, casting plastics, you're hitting a lot of different places. You're making 10, 20 casts to your one cast if you're fishing a bobber.
You heard much on the muskie fishing out there?
I heard a little bit on the muskie fishing. It's been kind of slow from what we've been hearing out of anglers here in the shop. We've had those nice cooler temperatures, which makes it a lot safer to catch those muskies. But, with us jumping up into the 85, 90 degrees, it's not going to take long for those water temps to sneak up where a lot of guys are going to start backing off of that.
Yeah, it's mixed results. Depending where you're at. I know there was a big PMTT tournament over in Eagle Chain and over that way, and there was a lot of muskies caught. There was over 60 muskies caught in a day and a half by the tournament. So, it all depends what lake you're on. I mean, and what the fish are turn on. They'll turn on one day and then not other. How about northern pike fishing? There's plenty of them out here.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got plenty of pike out here, and pike fishing has been pretty good. Pike have been intermixed with all the bass and the walleye that are sitting out on those deep weeds, especially the bigger ones. But if you're looking for a meal of pike, those shallow 6 to 8 foot weed flats, there's a ton of them in there, and they taste great.
Oh, yeah, you made a point there, too, is that pike are a very good table fare. You just have to take time to learn how to fillet them out and get the Y bones out of them. But, and the bigger pikes tend to be a little bit deeper now in the summertime.
Yeah, absolutely. They like that cool water. A lot of these fish are sitting 15 foot or deeper, and a great way, like we were talking about earlier, is trolling. You catch a lot of species when you're out there trolling for walleye or trolling for a particular species. It's not uncommon to see a big pike come up on a walleye rig.
Another tactic I found that's very effective out there, too, is, take a musky-sized spinnerbait, a little heavier spinnerbait, and, or a heavy bass spinnerbait, and just kind of get it down, let it go down and over the top of the weeds. If you start feeling the weeds, kind of lift it up, but get it down there and slow roll it over the top of all those weeds, and it's very effective for big pike.
Effective for pike and a lot of other fish as well. I do the same thing when I'm out fishing crappies. If you're not tickling the tops of those weeds, you're not in the right spot yet.
And bass fishing, that's a good thing to think about in the summertime up here because it's always a lot easier.
Yeah, and bass fishing's been awesome lately. It doesn't seem like it matters what you're throwing at them. We got topwater bites going, we got Ned rig bites going, we got wacky worm bites going. Guys are catching them on leeches out here. A lot of different ways you can go out and be successful catching both largemouth and smallmouth.
Little difference in where the location is, all between the smallmouth and the largemouth, and it changes by lake. I mean, if a smallmouth, you'll find the smallmouth shallow on a lot of the flowages on dark water lakes, whereas you get the clear water lakes, by now they're moved out into deeper water.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I've been fishing a lot of those clear bodies of water lately, and it seems like a lot of those fish are pushed out into that, 12 to 20 foot range, or going out there sitting on some shallow weed flats, short weed flats and some deeper rock bars. But yeah, that's where all the fish will be this time of year.
What's your favorite presentation for those smallmouths in those clear lakes when they move deeper?
I absolutely love drop shotting. Love drop shotting them. I love those little finesse techniques just because of the range of species that you can catch on them. If you're rigging up a drop shot for a smallmouth, you're likely to catch, big bluegill, big walleye, northern, just about anything. So covering a lot of different bases with one presentation.
And down here shop, you guys are geared up. You got all the equipment, all the gear anybody could need for fishing, for all species and everything.
Absolutely. If we don't have it, you don't need it. But if you do need it, we'll get it for you.
And thanks, Jared.
Thanks for having me, John.
Well, folks, we need to take a break right now and hear from some of the fine sponsors that bring their show to you every week. When we come back, we'll be talking to fishing guide and charter boat captain James Pearce. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Hayward Bait and Bottle is your one-stop for the Hayward area's largest selection of rods, reels, lures, fishing electronics, boating supplies, and they've now expanded their selection of soft plastic bass and walleye baits. No matter what you're fishing for, at Hayward Bait and Bottle, you'll find everything you'll need for a successful season. And while you're there, in their bottle shop, you'll find a full selection of beer, wine, and liquor, too. And also don't forget, now they carry Shoremaster docks, lifts, and accessories at Hayward Bait and Bottle. There's no time like the present to explore Hayward, Wisconsin, one of the Midwest's most popular vacation destinations. With crystal clear lakes for water sports and fishing, miles of trails for riding snowmobiles, ATVs, cross-country skiing, hiking, and mountain biking, this area is buzzing with activity year-round. Combined with charming local shops and a variety of Northwoods dining options, Hayward is certain to offer both adventure and relaxation for everyone. Plan your trip today and find everything you need on the Hayward Area Chamber of Commerce website. From events and attractions to local dining, shopping, and lodging, visit haywardareachamber.com and start your next adventure now.
Have some UTV fun in the sun with savings up to $4,000 or financing as low as 0% at Hayward Power Sports. The Polaris All-Out Summer Sales Event is the perfect time to take yours home. Offers vary by model, but a prime example is the 2026 Polaris Ranger XP1000 Northstar with a $3,000 rebate or 1.99% financing for 36 months. This machine is the top of the line with a factory-installed cab system including a tip-out windshield and power front windows. Plus, control your comfort with factory-installed heat and AC. Yes, AC. Choose a machine to fit your needs and the offer that fits your pocketbook. Polaris RZR is a machine for adrenaline junkies to push the limits. Polaris Ranger is the ultimate workhorse for the toughest jobs. And Polaris General is the best of both worlds, built with task-to-trail versatility, ready to work or play. Plus, Hayward Power Sports has a machine that started it all, the legendary Polaris Sportsman ATV. Have fun in the sun with your new Polaris today at Hayward Power Sports, just 10 minutes east of Hayward on Highway 77.
See dealer for complete program details. Always wear a helmet so everyone can ride.
In the Northwoods, a lake property is more than just a cabin. It's where memories are made. If you're buying lakefront property, you want someone who understands what makes each lake special. And if you're selling, your property deserves more than just a sign in the yard. It deserves its story told. I'm Megz Steinmetz with Real Estate by Megz, a national 30 under 30 realtor, lifelong angler, and a Northwoods lake specialist. Because no two lakes are the same, and neither are the properties. Find me online or on social media, Real Estate by Megz. That's Megz with a Z.
Welcome back to another segment of this week's Wisconsin Northland Outdoors. And this part of the show is brought to you by the Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau. For more information on lodging and vacationing here in the Hayward Lakes area, check out their website at haywardlakes.com. Well, folks, we not only have some great inland lakes really close by, but we've got the Great Lakes to the north and the south of us, Lake Superior and Lake Michigan. On this week's show, I had a chance to talk to fishing guide and charter boat captain James Pearce. James, good to have you on the show here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Let's talk about the Lake Superior fishery. I mean, a lot of people around here go up and fish the Schwamigan Bay and some of the more inshore, I guess you'd call it, waters. But there's a lot of other fishing out there offshore, too, some of the trolling and stuff.
Absolutely. So when you're fishing inside the bay, you can get all of your lake species and everything between Houghton Point and Long Island Point and in. That's what we know as the Schwamigan Bay. When you go outside by the islands, you can get, your trout, your salmon species, all depending on where you're at. And you can get into your deeper type fishing areas. So anything over 100, 150, 200 feet, that's going to be out by the islands. Getting into the shoals for more like your browns, your splake, pike, walleye, stuff like that, anywhere from 65 feet all the way on up to 8 feet.
I'll talk about many different species up there, but you got the trout and salmon, but it's also Lake Superior, you got walleyes, you got little everything there too.
We do have a pretty good walleye fishery up there. It's known for some big pike, especially during ice fishing season. You can pretty much catch anything you're looking for inland lakes. The Schwamigan Bay area does have that. We also have the trout and salmon as well from the big lake that come in. So it's a pretty dynamic area.
What kind of tips could you give people up there that want to make a trip up there to fish the Chequamegon Bay? I mean, that'd be they haven't been on the big lake a lot. The Chequamegon Bay and some of the bays would be the better place to try, I guess.
Absolutely. I would definitely I would definitely stick more towards your structures out in front of the creeks, the river mouths. The break wall is always a good one. Out by Long Island, the Brush Point, Sand Point, the Sand Cut, all those areas are also known to hold a lot of good fish. The deeper areas where the shipping channels are, out around Ashland Lighthouse, out near the Washburn Coal Dock, those are good places in the bay to catch fish. Depending on the time of year, depending on what you're going to be doing, you could be seeing anything from perch and walleye all the way up to your main trout species in the fall.
I know there's a big difference in one side of the bay to the other. I mean, if you get on the eastern side of it, you got a pretty big flats that goes out with a lot of weeds and stuff. You find the trout in that stuff too, or is that mostly for the walleyes and pike and stuff and other species?
Early in the spring, you'll see some trout go up in there. Some cohos. More towards the end of Long Island, so more towards the Houghton Point side of Long Island. You can run into a couple that are stragglers in there, especially during the mayfly hatches, but mostly it's your perch, your walleye, your pike. That's what you're going to find in there on those flats.
Yeah, I know, and we didn't even talk about the smallmouth fishing up there. They seem to be everywhere in that bay.
Oh, they got some great smallmouth fishing. They have to be 23 inches to keep. Most people don't keep them. And honestly, a lot of guys that are the walleye fishermen, they'll catch them by accident. The guys that are targeting the smallmouth, they'll find walleyes mixed in the bag too. So it's a pretty good area.
We're talking about coming into the summer fishing here. Is the summer good for the trout and salmon up there? You got to get offshore for, or what you got to do?
Mostly you have to look for where the cold water meets the warm water. So right now, as of last weekend, Saturday, from Long Island Point all the way back into Washburn, there was a pretty good break of 42.5 degree water. We got up to 48 degree water. If you push into like Sand Cut on the South Shore, so the Ashland side of the bay, we got up to 62 degree water. So once you find that break, when the warmer water, where that is, that's where you're going to find your lake species, your walleye, your pike, your perch, your bass. When you see that cold water break, that's where you're going to see where the trout and salmon come into that warm water, feed, and go back out. So that's where you want to do your S-curves, and that's where you want to do your fishing.
Just like any other lake, especially early in the year, water temperature is a big deal. I mean, you got to watch that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can hit a good pocket of warmer water. You can stay and follow that pocket with the current and just fish out of that pocket back and forth, working that, and that usually produces fish. Weather has a huge impact. So like the rains that we've been having for the last couple days out in front of the river mouths and stuff, you're going to find pockets of warm water. Right on the edge of the cool water, you're going to see the dirty water in closer towards the mouth. So fish those mud lines. That's what I would be doing right now.
I know you mentioned the mud lines, and there's times when that can really turn brown in that bay. And, it always seems to be an edge, though, on it someplace, a line where it goes from that muddy water to clear water.
Absolutely. You'll have one side of the boat that'll be in chocolate milk. The other side will be just crystal clear. And there's different layers to it as well. It's pretty dynamic because it'll float around on the currents out there. So, you might have clear water down to 15, 20, 30 feet with 60 feet of water. The bottom side of it will be that chocolate milk color. Other times it'll be clear underneath and chocolate milk on top, and you kind of dismiss an area. Sometimes it pays to go over and do a little bit of scouting and just kind of see. You might be surprised.
The fish seem to like that clear water versus the muddy water too, or?
It also kind of depends on the fish. So like your trout and salmon species, those are more of a sight feeder. So they need that clearer water in order to see what they're chasing. They're not really that aggressive on scents. When you're fishing dirty water, more for your walleyes, that's where you're going to see your crawler harnesses, your live baits, your stick baits, and your spoons that really give off that high profile that really ping their lateral lines. that's where they're going to see that.
Well, when it comes to fishing up there, you prefer a crankbaits or you get into a lot of the spoons? It all depends what fish you're fishing for, I suppose.
Absolutely. I mean, I have quite a few tackle boxes, all depending on what I'm going for. Some days I'll be going from lake trout all the way up to walleye. It all kind of depends on what's cooking. Depends on the wind. That's a huge factor out there. So if the wind is blowing out of the north, you'll stay either on the lee side, on the north side of the bay, or you can turn around and sneak into some of those backwater bays and you switch from going for trout and salmon. Conditions change, turn around and go over for walleye and pike.
Well, folks, we need to take yet another break and hear from even more of the fine sponsors that make this show possible every week. When we come back, we'll have the second part of that talk we had with James Pearce. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Hey folks, come on over to Hayward Ace Hardware and check out the area's largest selection of firearms, ammo, and accessories. We carry top brands like Browning and Sig Sauer, and we have a great selection of the newest and hard-to-find models. We've got a large selection of ammo with more coming in daily. If you need a scope, we carry great brands like Leupold, Hawk, and EOTech, and we'll even mount it and bore-sight it for you too. We even sell suppressors and silencers. And don't forget to check out our Guns of the Week. Huge discounts on a variety of pistols, rifles, and shotguns that change every week. So stop on in to Hayward Ace Hardware, your firearms superstore. Hayward Ace Hardware, Highway 63 North in Hayward, or give us a call at 715-634-8700.
Hayward Animal Hospital is a full-service medical and surgical hospital featuring on-site laboratory, digital and dental x-ray, in-house pharmacy, and online store. Dr. Ostrander has 40 years of experience dealing with illnesses, injuries, surgery, and dentistry. Hayward Animal Hospital offers urgent care appointments and emergency surgery daily. Please call early in the day for these appointments. They open at 8 a.m. Hayward Animal Hospital is located 1 mile east of Hayward on Highway B. Call 715-634-8971.
Big fish stories come to life at the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame. The world's largest shrine to freshwater anglers boasts a 4.5-story tall walk-through muskie that's a half a city block long. It's like taking a peek into Granddad's old tackle box with thousands of mounted fish, antique outboard motors, and historical sport fishing artifacts. Stop in and take a chance on our 50-50 cash raffle. You could walk away with a pile of cash. See the big ones that didn't get away at the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame, Highways 27 and B in Hayward. Open daily, including Sundays, through October 31st at 9:30 a.m. Welcome back to the last segment of this week's Wisconsin Northland Outdoors. And folks, we're going to jump right back into the second part of that talk we had with charter boat captain James Pearce. Let's talk about your other job. I mean, you're way down on Lake Michigan this summer a bunch too.
Absolutely. So right now I'm out of Port Washington, Wisconsin, fishing Lake Michigan on the Nicky Boy 2.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about that. That's a pretty big outfit. They got several boats, right?
Absolutely. So the biggest one that they have is it's a 36-foot Viking all the way on down. Mine's the smallest one at a 34-foot long Pro Line extra wide.
Yeah, so you actually go out to Port Washington. What are you going for mostly out there? Different kinds of trout and salmon or what?
Absolutely. We go mostly for the king run is always great down there. The cohos, we get a lot of rainbows and early season browns. So you're looking at like the middle to the end of April, beginning of May is going to be a lot of browns mixed with cohos, maybe a couple rainbows still sticking around. And then it goes into more coho and rainbows mixed. And then that slowly changes into your main king run towards the end of the fall.
I know Lake Superior is a good trout and salmon water, but I think Michigan is better, and I think the DNR puts a lot more fish in that stocking-wise.
So when I showed up down there April 23rd, there was over 70,000 fingerlings that were in Port Washington Harbor that they released out this year for coho stocking. There's also the alewife, which is a completely different bait fish than we have up here on Lake Superior. We have smelt. So the alewife is more of a greasy fish. It's ocean fish that has been introduced. It's an invasive species, much like the smelt, but it has a higher caloric content for them. So you have a lot more oil, and the fish themselves can get bigger eating those. So your coho grow quite a bit faster, quite a bit bigger. It's a little bit warmer water. Your kings, early season, they'll be 12, 14 pounds. By the end of season, they'll be over 30. So they'll almost double in size from the beginning of season to the end of season just by what we have there. Up here on Lake Superior, it's colder water. They're chasing the smelt. The smelt they don't have as much oil to them. As far as eating fish, personally, I enjoy our cohos, but they're way smaller than the ones that we catch down there. If you want a true trophy, that is the place to go.
And that's what I've heard. They got some really big cohos at the mouth of the rivers and stuff. And when it comes to fishing over there, you fishing mostly offshore? How far out you go and what?
I mean, our longest trip that we've taken so far offshore from the harbor out is about 6 miles, but that's mostly going up towards the north, just chasing those pods of those active fish. Most of the time we don't have to go out nowhere near as far as we do over here fishing the islands. Over here, if you want to go for big Lakers and you want to go out to the flats, if you want to go up by Outer Island and you're leaving out of Washburn or Bayfield, you're looking at anywhere from 30 to 35, 36 miles offshore to get out to those fishing grounds. Down there, it's 6, maybe 8 miles in a whole day of out there fishing that you're going to be covering.
Mostly trolling?
Yeah, mostly trolling, using a lot of downriggers, dipsy divers. Then you also have your long lines. Yeah, and your coppers, your steel coated. It's a lot of the same gear that we run up here fishing the bay and fishing the Apostle Islands area on Lake Superior. It's just run a little bit differently down there.
You know, there's some big contests over there too, because I know that gets into a really popular thing over that way.
Yeah, so we have the Samarama that's coming up, and I know myself and the other 4 captains, we're gearing up for that. We can't wait. So that is July 11th to the 18th, and the boats are already registered for that. So if we have any bookings or clients that are going to be coming during those dates, which is the 11th to the 18th of July, that is Samarama. They're automatically entered in for that contest. Top prize at the end of the week is $50,000 with daily prizes. It's a huge event. It draws in a lot of people. It brings a lot of awareness to the stocking efforts and the fishery that's down there. It's a great time to go out. And you never know if you're going to get anything. I mean, if you end up catching something, great. There's a pretty good track record of the folks at Nicky Boy charters down there that have placed in that contest quite a few times.
Well, interesting stuff. If anybody's interested in information on the charters and your guide business and everything.
So it's nickyboycharters.com. You can go ahead and look at the website. Right now I have 4 openings for that week during Samarama. So we run 2 charters. I just got clearance to start running 3 a days, which is really going to be pushing it, but it's going to be a lot of fun. That's why I go down there and do it.
So, James, you got, I know you live here in Stone Lake. You fish all the Lake Superior and over in Michigan, but anybody wants to get a hold of you locally here, how do they get a hold of you?
So it's Jim Pearce 1980 at gmail.com. You can send me an email. My phone number is 715-208-4096. You can give me a text message. You can call me. So I'll be down in Lake Michigan fishing port until the second weekend in October. Then I'll take a couple days off, regroup, and start fishing the bay and the Apostle Islands area all the way up until ice up. So right now I'm doing some bookings up here for the fall fishing run. I also do guide service on the creeks in the area for the fall salmon runs. So I'm kind of working that in along with still working down in port. So Nicky Boy Charters out of Port Washington is 414-940-9788.
Well, James, I want to thank you greatly for taking the time with us here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Well, folks, we're about out of time for this week's show. I'd like to remind everyone out there that if you miss a show, you can always go to our website at wnoradio.com, and from there you can link through to our podcast. You can also find the show on Spotify and all major podcast channels. And also, if you're looking for information on vacationing and lodging here in the Hayward Lakes area, check out the Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau website at haywardlakes.com or the Hayward Area Chamber site at haywardareachamber.com. And lastly, if you'd like more information on hiring a fishing guide when you're up here in the Hayward area, check out our website at wnoradio.com. We've got links to just about all the different guides and a lot of information in there on guides. We're out of time for this week's show, and we'll be back again next week with another interesting show for you. Thanks for listening.
Way up in the Northland where the recreation's great. So sit back, relax, kick off your shoes, sink in your easy chair. Come on along, listen with me, I'm gonna take you there to our Wisconsin Outdoors, our Wisconsin Outdoors.
This program has been produced and hosted entirely by Wisconsin Northland Outdoor Communications.